Hey, good morning, Bella Vista. We're back again with Flynn. And my guest, as always, is Mayor John Flynn. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Thank you. We look forward to this every month. And I'm kind of excited that we do this show right after the work session and right before the regular city council meeting, which is... The city council meeting is?
Yeah, it's Monday, June 24 at 6 p.m. And it's, of course, you can go see it live and at the district court. And also it's televised live by this television station.
Yes, so we'd like to keep everybody in the know and informed. But we do like to have an audience, don't we, at the council meetings?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Okay, so, excuse me, I know that a lot of things were discussed at the work session, so let's get started.
Yeah, I'll tell you about a few things that are going on. One item is we are wanting to add 2 employees in the community development department. And one is a senior planner, and another would be a young engineer. And reason for that is that we've got a lot of business there right now, just in the home building side. It's up, despite the interest rates, it's up even from last year. Last year we had about 500 permits, and we're tracking to have even more this year.
Wow.
New housing permits. And the second thing is, of course, with the Walton-related entities being involved, we're starting to get more work already, you know, requests from planning and whatnot about different things. And so we're anticipating quite an uptick in work and trying to cover the work we have now and also get ready for what's coming at us. So.
Well, and also to speed up production a little bit. I think when you don't have enough folks in there helping to do the work, sometimes things get delayed. So you're trying to cut back and make those permits and everything more handled quickly.
Yeah. The GEC permits, which is grading and erosion control, which you get right when in the early side of the building process, is that's been quite a crush of activity on that. And we did hire a new engineer 20 hours a week last year, and Chris Brackett, he's been doing a great job, but he's very, very busy.
he was in the audience going, yes, please, I need help. Hey, let's remind everybody what the CDS does, because we're talking about community development services. What do they do? What's their primary role?
That's a good question. They do all the permits for new houses or any other kind of permit people might want. It ends up being thousands a year if you count all the different kind of permits. And also they do the planning and whatnot. And when there's anything comes up about zoning changes or things like that, they're involved in all those things. And of course, you're on the Planning Commission, and a lot of those things come before the Planning Commission.
Yes.
And of course, they're involved in presenting those to you folks, and it makes for a full plate. They stay pretty busy over there.
And it's everything from I'm thinking about building, which is grading and clearing the land, to it's that all the way up to it's okay to build.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
And then inspections after that to make sure everything is up
like
to
it's
code.
Supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're very busy.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that the 3 of them get it all done, or maybe more if you count the engineer.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think that is, I for one am glad you're doing that, because you're right. Things are going to start booming here before too long, even more than they already are.
Yeah. Second thing before council is we're having a resolution expressing an official intent to borrow money, and the reason for that has to do with all our new construction over at City Hall. We do have a pretty healthy reserve, but we're planning to finance part of that construction. It's kind of from the point of view of myself and our finance director, Kim Hall, it's a way of being conservative, that you conserve your cash, and that way, you spread the costs out a little bit. So that's just, the point of that resolution is just putting a stake in the ground, a date that any of the expenses, after that time, actually it goes back 60 days, can be used in a future borrowing. And what we would do is either have a revenue bond, which doesn't require voter approval, or else Amendment 78, which is a 5-year loan. There's only certain kind of loans that cities are allowed to do under state law.
Okay.
So it would be one of those two ways. So that's being done. And speaking of that subject matter, before the show, you were asking me about the timing on that.
Yes.
When the police moved out, we started working on that area that used to be the police offices, to be the Fire Station number 1 living quarters. And that's the 2-story portion there. And it's pretty far along. It's supposed to be done end of August or September.
Oh, okay.
And they'll be moving in there. Mm-hmm. And then the end of November, the lease for community development ends. And so temporarily, community development is going to move over and be where the fire, at that location where the fire number 1 used to have their living quarters. So people will be going over there to get their permits, and they'll be right there. That's our offices at 71 and Lancashire.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it'll be
City
right there
Hall.
where City Hall is.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah.
good.
And the employees are really looking forward to that. So starting at that time, they're going to start the new construction at the same location, which is City Hall offices on the 1st floor and the fire department officials on the 2nd floor. So that's going to start around August. Well, actually, it started now. Mm-hmm. They were able to start even before the other part's finished. And that'll probably be completed May or June 2025.
Okay.
So then once they do that, then they can fix up City Hall offices. Old offices need some work, and we're going to fix those up, and community development's going to move in there.
Okay.
And then the 4th phase, so that'll be completed in 2026, and the 4th phase is adding a couple bays, so there'll actually be 5 bays at that fire station instead of 3. That was a pretty long-term plan, really. The part about the fire living quarters and the 5 bays, those plans were actually put in place back when Peter Christie was still mayor. So we've been talking about that for a while. So,
well, good things take a while to happen, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes they do. The other thing that happened is we had our auditors come speak to us. They had completed their audit. And this is the earliest we'd ever had it completed. The name of the firm is Forvis Mazars. It's an accounting firm. And they completed the audit, and we had no deficiencies or material weaknesses, which is what you like to hear. Mm-hmm. If you're in management, that's what you're hoping for. So real pleased about the audit going well, and we feel good about our financial situation. So,
let's talk a second there, and maybe that will be coming up here in a minute, but let's talk about it now. Governments, the city, does not use GAAP accounting. They could, but they don't. They use what instead?
It's called regulatory accounting, and it's allowed by state law in Arkansas for municipalities. So it's a little bit of a simpler system, but it's costs a little bit less, and also it's acceptable to the bondholders and whatnot. So that gives me a lot of comfort that we're doing what we need to do.
Sure. Well, with your financial background, too, that's good to hear that you think that's probably the best for Bella Vista right now.
Yeah.
Doing that particular kind of audit.
I guess our Director of Finance, Kim Hall, and I are kind of financial geeks. We like to sit around and talk about different financial things and ways to, trying to figure out ways to maximize the residents' money and get the most for their dollar.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Kim is. We're all really happy for Kim and you guys because she kind of pushed to get all this finished early, and good job. Good job, Kim.
Ended up working out. So.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about Happy Egg.
Yeah, we have there's a proposal for a Happy Egg plant, which is actually not in the city of Bella Vista, but it's in our planning area. You know, the area just outside the city is still subject to some jurisdiction by the city. So it's on Punkin Hollow Road, or the proposed plant is. And Happy Egg is a company out of Rogers who tries to have chicken farms in a more a more congenial method for the chickens. And
happy chickens, happy eggs.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they're going for. So this was before the Planning Commission, and it didn't pass, and now it's been appealed to the City Council. And you know, if they comply with all the requirements that are on the books for the city, then it needs to get approval. So I think that's probably what will happen. One good thing that happened, at first before the Planning Commission, they were trying to get a waiver of the sidewalk requirement, and they've dropped that. And I understand there's a fair amount of bikers and whatnot on that road, and it's people sometimes go fairly quickly on there. Mm-hmm. So it's probably a good thing that we'll have somewhere else for them to be off-road, you know, be a little safer for everybody.
You know, as far as the Planning Commission goes, we have to go by certain rules, and if things are not finished at the time of the vote, then that may be why we did not send it forward at that moment. But in the meantime, they have complied, and now at the council level, it can be approved.
Yeah, yeah, I understand there were some things pending. That's a good point at the time that hadn't been accomplished. So.
You know, that little talk that he did was really informative. I hope he's going to do the same thing at council again, because it's kind of a research organization. I mean, they're doing, they're eggs, but they're doing research and scientific whatevers on the eggs. Mm-hmm. You know, come to the city council meeting and hear about it, because it's kind of cool. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it was somewhat interesting to hear about it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It's time to replace your IT stuff again, huh?
Yeah, they have a rotating deal where they try to replace all the computers, and they get a 3-year lease on them. So we had 25 computers come up for approval, and I think that'll probably go through. The other thing that happened at the work session that was interesting is Blue Crane LLC. Representatives from Blue Crane came to speak to the council. You know, they had come and spoken to the employees, and then of course they had the public meeting, but we wanted to give the council a chance to hear from them directly, and they spoke and answered some questions about their plans. You know, they're still in the planning stage, so there were not a lot of specifics, but I thought it was worthwhile to have them meet with the council. And,
in case there's anybody new out there listening, Blue Crane is the entity that bought out the developer rights for Cooper, and also a lot of the property that Cooper owned. Yeah,
they are a subsidiary of Runway Group, and both of them are what I call Walton-related entities. It's really the grandchildren of Sam Walton that are interested in doing things in the local area. They've done quite a bit in Bentonville, Northwest Arkansas, and they do have an interest in Bella Vista.
Very much so. And community, and making the community beautiful and functional for everybody.
Yeah.
I liked what, I think Brenda Anderson was her name, the lady that did the speaking. Yeah. I liked what she said. She still made absolutely sure that we're still in the planning stage. And maybe by the end of the year there will be more information. But I liked what she said about mostly just a refreshed look. Maybe they'll start with a refreshed look for Sugar Creek in that area. And then also working with the city of Bentonville, who actually owns Bella Vista Lake.
Yeah. Well, she also mentioned that they're very interested in communicating with the people, maybe have another public session. They want to hear input from people, and have
Yes.
people be on board with them, so to speak. So.
A little bit of promotion there. They do have a website, Blue Crane. You could probably just search for Blue Crane, and they have a frequently asked questions section that's updated periodically.
Yeah.
So, and if you have ideas, they encourage you to put them out there as well. So,
yeah.
I'm really curious and excited. I think Bella Vista is going to see some really fun things under your reign.
Yeah, it seems like things are happening, definitely.
Yes. So. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Dave Todd, president of Todd Films. We work alongside Bella Vista Community Television to produce some of the content you see aired here. Have you thought about reaching your customers through a television ad? We have several options for you to consider. They range from coming to our studio here, or going to your place of business, or on location. Once you have your commercial, Bella Vista Community Television has several options for you to consider for airing your commercial. Do you have a live event that you would like to capture on video? We also offer live production packages that may be of interest. Please continue to tune in to Bella Vista Community Television. We hope you are enjoying this program. And now back to the show.
We're back. Boy, that was quick.
Yeah, it was.
All right, let's talk about those financials through April.
Oh, yes. Aside from the audit, which was, of course, of 2023 results, we did get our financials through April 30, 2024, and they're still looking pretty solid. Operating revenue was up 5.9% over last year, and operating expense was running $1 million below budget. So I'm trying to keep an eye on those expenses. So
is that timing a lot of it, or is it just
No, I think we actually are running below.
Oh, okay, good.
But it's, that's for 4 months.
Yes.
So it's starting to get to be a significant chunk of the year.
Yes.
So, we feel pretty good about that. And the city taxes revenues were up quite a bit. They're up around 6.6%. And the county was up 4 point something. So that's last year the county pretty much always outpaced the city. So I'm feeling good about the city, and I think that's definitely going to continue to increase, as we get different things going on.
Are you fully staffed now, other than these 2 new employees?
Pretty much. We've had a few vacancies. One of the things that happened was interesting with the city. The last year Peter Christie was mayor. We had about 50 people leave for one reason or another. And the first year I was in, we had 40. And that's out of 200. So that's a stouter percentage that I'm used to seeing in the companies I was with in my past life.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of turnover. And I'm happy to say it slowed down quite a bit this year. I think people are feeling good about where we're at, and the market might be getting, the employment market might be getting just a little bit softer. We're finding it easy to find good employees that want to work for us. So, for a while there with the COVID and all, it was hard to get people. People think it was hard to get people in restaurants, but it was hard to get people in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we feel pretty good about the people we've been able to find lately, and been happy the turnover's gone down also. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that's very good. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite. Well, yours too. You're an art person. I think we're talking about the new sculptures on the Bluebird Trail. I think that trail's going to be renamed. What I heard recently, I'm not sure what it's going to be. Do you know?
No, I don't.
All right, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
All right. But I think that because of the connection eventually with the Razorback Greenway and all that, because that'll be the dead end, at least for now, there. So anyway, what's happening there?
Yeah, what happened with the sculptures, I'm not sure everybody realizes. We put 3 sculptures on there a year ago, and they were under a 1-year lease. That's a new thing that a lot of cities are doing, that they figured out they could get art out to the people at a more affordable price that way. So we leased 3 sculptures last year. Then, of course, in the meantime, a few months ago, we moved the Marilyn Monroe sculpture from the fire department to fire department / city hall. We moved that over there. So we had the 4 of them. So the 3 of them, the 1-year lease was up. And one of them we bought. It was the one by Douglas Cox of Republic. I think it was called "What to Do with Your Superpowers" or something like that.
The dogs and the cats and the birds and all of that. It's a great sculpture.
Anyway, it's stainless steel. It's pretty dynamic. Anyway, so we got 3. We bought that one, so we have that one. Then we leased 3 new ones for this coming year, and one of them was by that same man, Douglas Cox. There was a guy named Dan Perry from Waterloo, Iowa, and he was coming down to pick his sculpture up, so they got another one from him, since it's a long ways down from Iowa.
Yeah.
So I thought that was nice. Then we had a new artist, Joe and Terry Malesky from Strafford, Missouri, and they have a sculpture on there. So we've got 3 new sculptures to look at over there on the trail.
Who did the one that's the big flowers that look like?
That's Joe and Terry Malesky.
Okay, the new one. Yeah, that's totally different and new. And you know, the sculptures before were nice, but I think the new ones and the one we bought, of course, is whimsical and park. It looks good there.
Yeah.
Good selections is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And then, it turned out that elsewhere in the park, they've added a few things. There's a gigantic turtle and a gigantic chair. And I mean gigantic. I saw a couple adults sitting in it the other day, and it made you realize how big that chair is.
You remember 100 years ago for Saturday Night Live, Edith Ann sitting in the chair?
Oh, right.
Remember that?
It's about that size.
It is. It really is. And I think I've also heard that they're going to put an extension on the treehouse.
Yeah, I had heard that. Yeah.
So that park is really a nice family place to be.
Yeah, I think it's going to get better and better, and because the Razorback Greenway is going to go over there also, and it's really developing into something nice. They made that nice trail in there. So
absolutely. Yeah. Well, now let's continue on with art because we both love it. The annual Art in Bloom, or Bella Vista in Bloom.
Yeah, that's where they have the yarn bombing, and they have really upped their game or increased the volume, certainly. They have a lot of, it's on there for a month. We have the grand opening June 11, so they'll have those displayed for about a month. And they're at the library, and they're on that fence by City Hall still that you see from the freeway. And this year they added some at the Gear Garden, and I believe there's some over at the History Museum.
Yes, there always is around the cabin. Yeah.
That's what I could think of.
Yeah.
Anyway. So that's actually a national or even an international thing, and Bella Vista started doing it 3 years ago. But I've heard in some other countries it's really quite widespread also. So.
And some of the things they come up with this year in particular, I think the one that's getting the most attention is the bicycle. That the one they're going to have at the Gear Garden, where one of the Arts Council members, I think Barbara Pelton, I think it was hers, but decorated a bicycle with yarn.
Yeah.
And have you seen it in person yet?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. And I think that, you were coming up on that, but I think the Artist Spotlight that we do quarterly is going to be there at the Gear Garden, correct?
Yeah, it's Thursday, June 20, and it's at 5 p.m., and they're going to honor 3 of the people involved with it's Debra Devilbiss and Teresa Oller and Barbara Pelton. And so that'll be nice. That's a fun place to gather anyway, over at the Gear Garden. What could go wrong, right?
Well, that's right, except when you run out of beer and then you're in trouble. But they've even added a new little place for beer, and we still run out. So people like it. And it's not just beer, folks. There's other things there.
Yeah. Well, that Blowing Springs, it's always been a nice park, and historically, it goes back quite a ways because the spring and the coolness it provides. And, you know, back in the day when they didn't have air conditioning or whatnot, to be able to go somewhere like that in summer that's a little cooler would naturally be an attraction for people.
I love it when you go there and you watch the little kids play in the stream and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, they like to splash around, don't they? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what else is coming up? I know we've got some other things that are in the works.
June 21 and 22, the wood carvers are having a show. They oftentimes have an annual show where they display their works and sell some. And it's, you know, the other year, my wife and I went to that, and she'd never been before, and she was shocked at the quality.
Yeah.
It was just way beyond anything she expected.
Where's it going to be?
It's really impressive. I think it's at the Assembly of God Church again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
on Forest Hills.
Okay,
So, yeah, that's always a fun event. And then, of course, we have a couple things that are really popular events. July 3rd is the fireworks at Loch Lomond. Once it gets dark, of course, and that is a really big draw. It gets a lot of people from Bella Vista and also outside of Bella Vista. It's really a popular item.
Now,
And,
the city provides those fireworks, isn't that correct?
yeah, the A&P Commission helps out too. I believe
Okay.
we split the cost
Okay.
on it. And yeah, I remember when I used to be on the Advertising and Promotion Commission, and they were very into online things and studying, and they have a tremendous spike in all their online participation right around the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I think the fireworks has a lot to do with that.
Well, and also, it always sells out. Lake Point always puts on a big, the POA puts on a big party to watch the fireworks every year, and it sells out instantly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, but you can always come and park below the dam and in there, right? The
Yeah.
police patrol
Yeah.
that road pretty well, make sure nobody's parking where they're not supposed to.
Yeah, and it's very family-oriented activity naturally, because the kids like fireworks and spread out a blanket on the grass and
I think
watch
they're doing
them.
face painting and games
Yeah.
and things like that.
So yeah, it's pretty neat. And there's quite a few folks go out on Loch Lomond on a boat to
Yes.
watch them that way.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right, and then July 4th, we're doing a parade again?
Yeah, there's a parade the morning of July 4th. And I was a little surprised the other day. I was at a meeting, and someone said that it was the largest 4th of July parade in the state of Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate
Our little
or
bitty
not.
short
Yeah,
parade?
but I know nobody else in Northwest Arkansas has a 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
So, and Tim and Julie Hall, along with Steve Morrow at Allen's, are continuing to run it. It's a big job doing that. And it's, I believe it's at 9 a.m. It's
Yeah.
in the morning.
So are you going to
the
ride
4th.
around in the car and wave at people like Miss America and
Well,
stuff?
last year I helped Steve with the announcing part.
Yes, you did.
instead of
That's
doing that.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
So
Okay.
anyway, we'll see. I'm sure
Okay.
I'll do something. But yeah, they get a good turnout for that. And that's another one that has a lot of kids at it. And there's people from Missouri and people from other cities in Northwest Arkansas come to it. So
Yeah.
have to give people a lot of credit for getting that going. Some of the interesting things we have in Bella Vista, it's interesting. They're what I call grassroots. People just start them, and the parade, 4th of July parade's an example of that. And, back in the day, Jim Parsons had a lot to do with getting that going. Then he turned it over when he felt like he was getting up there in years to run it, which I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
And Newcomers is another example. It was just started by people who thought it would be a good idea.
Yep.
And there's so many clubs and organizations in Bella Vista that are like that. It's just somebody says, hey, I like kayaking, I think I'll start a kayak club. Or I like
Yeah.
hiking, so I'll have a hiking club.
And in the past, I don't know if they're still out there, but even states, people that move in from Nebraska, there's a Nebraska club or there's an
Yeah.
Iowa club and all
Yeah,
of that.
that's right.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I think we're almost out of time. But as always, I truly look forward to this because I'd like to hear from you what's going on.
well, thank you. Appreciate that.
And let's remind everybody again about the City Council meeting, when it is and where it is.
Yeah, Monday, June 24 at 6 p.m. And it's at the district court on Forest Hills Boulevard. So you can
See you there.
see our new public safety building while you're there, right?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Until next month, you have a great day. And be sure you get out there and enjoy the fireworks and the parade and everything else that's going on in Bella Vista. Thank you.